That's a pretty good mic. Yeah, we're going to take questions at the end of the panel here. Yeah, that's a really good mic.
Are we starting? Are we live?
I don't think
Does
so.
it happen?
I think
Will they signal this?
Yeah.
Does that mean we're live?
Yes.
On the internet?
Whoa.
Okay.
This must be new for you.
I don't know what's happening. Go for it. I don't know what's
We're
happening.
live?
Yep.
Yeah, we're going.
Okay, here we go. Thanks, Shaun. So my name is Jonathan Wendell. I go by the creator name, influencer name is Fatal1ty. I'm a former world #1 esports player in the world. I built my own esports brands and so forth in the past, and we're going to be sharing some of that content today with you. I'm here with GGWP Academy CEO and CMO, Jax Garrett and Casey Paul.
Yep.
If you guys would like to go to introduce yourself, and then we'll get to Shaun.
Sure. Hi, I'm Jax. I'm the CEO and founder of GGWP Academy. We are an e-learning and influencer marketplace platform for gamers globally. So we teach content creators how to become best-in-class content creators, and then we give them opportunities to work with brands from all over the world. So basically a marketplace where small brands can connect with small creators, mid-tier with mid-tier, and then large with large. We basically look after the other 99% of creators, not the top 1%, if that makes sense. And this is our CMO, Cassie, as well.
I mean, how can I follow that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm Cassie. So I head up marketing at GGWP. I think Jack's nailed it on the head. We are really a company built for smaller creators, and that's something that hasn't existed previous to today. You've got the ninjas of the world that actually get, 99% of the money, charging, thousands and thousands for one post, right? And so what we're trying to do is allow brands to enter into the market, but also allow smaller creators to actually make a career out of content creation. And that's really important to us.
And Shaun's a former Rooster Teeth and also now currently owner of hangtime.gg.
Hi, I own a brand called Hangtime. It used to be called Game Attack. It was a sub-brand of Rooster Teeth. Y'all probably know Rooster Teeth. That's why I'm aiming high. But Hangtime and Game Attack before it were and are, after knowing the Twitch leaks, disproportionately the most funded channel on the Twitch platform, considering audience size. We stream to about 200 to 300 people a day for about anywhere from 150 to 200 hours a month. Those 200 to 300 concurrents fund not only my livelihood as a solo streamer would be, but they fund 4 salaries, health insurance, studio, Christmas bonuses, content. Recently, they funded a year ago. Holy shit! Oh God! This is terrible.
Shaun!
We only lasted 3 minutes.
Yeah. For instance, last August, they funded a 21-day, 7,500-mile road trip that we live streamed, doing a lap across the entire nation. So basically, I'm not famous, but I know how to drive goals, create goals, and how to communicate to an audience, pay my channel, or there is no channel, while making a comfortable environment to tell your audience to support what you're doing, and also presenting them what they get in return for paying you and funding your channel directly. So that's what I got.
Yeah, Shaun has a great story, and we're going to get to all the questions here, but we got a chance to spend lunch together and kind of go through that. But on this panel, we're going to be covering the importance of personal branding, how to grow your community, and monetization of gaming careers. We'll start off with the first question. First of all, I want to kick this off with everyone's interpretation of a personal brand. What is it, and why is it so important?
I think a personal brand is just the way that you are perceived in the public sphere. So any way that in the public, if they're viewing you, if they're viewing your content, if they're viewing your you speaking or you doing something, it's all a part of your personal brand. It's not just about the logo, it's not just about the name or the social media. It's basically everything that encompasses you as a creator, and it's all of those things kind of rolled into one.
Do you want to go on?
If you like.
Yeah, so I think it's a really big misconception, especially when you're starting out as a content creator, where your logo almost becomes your brand, and you focus so hard on creating an awesome logo because you think that the visual representation is the only thing that puts you out there, right? But Jack's really said exactly what it was, right? It's exactly what a brand looks at you and says, yeah, this is the person that I want to work with. This is, it'll sum up who you are, how you talk to people, how the community that you have, and that's what's really important, right? Because at the end of the day, if you wanted to make this a career, that's who's going to be funding you, your community, but also brands who view you and go, yep, that's the brand that I want to work with.
Yeah, I think a lot of my insight on this panel is going to be about not how to grow and be the biggest streamer on Twitch, but how to get to a livable wage with your brand, which in itself is already next to impossible. But when it comes to a personal brand, the way I'm going to try to tell you how to make money on Twitch is a personal brand is a reflection of who you are as a person and making sure that it's reciprocated by the audience. That means being authentic, being open and transparent with your audience, making sure that you are creating a parasocial relationship that is healthy, not the kind that people show up to your house whenever you're trying to watch Netflix, but one where your audience is a reflection of you. And like you were saying, getting lost in the logos and stuff. Hang Time has a logo. It's a company, right? But all of our hosts are very like-minded thinkers, and that is the brand. The brand is how Hang Time interacts, because we always have like two people like on the couch together at any time or at the battle stations where they can rib off each other and one can talk to the audience. So I think the personal brand is that. I like to say, your personal brand is the fourth wall that you're permeating between you and your chat. As long as whatever that relationship is, that is your personal brand, because it's authentic and your audience will know you as well as you, as much as you're allowing them to, which, as we'll see when it comes to monetization, should be a lot, because you want your audience supporting you, the real you, not some kind of BS fake person. Well, some people can make money being a character, and that's awesome. I think proportionately you'll have more success if they know you as a person, because they're going to want to support somebody that they see themselves in. So.
Yeah, I mean, I could say from experience, like, building my own brand, my brand was based on competing. So I competed in tournaments, traveling around the world, playing in those tournaments. But I created like the first large gaming mouse pad. So I was like, okay, I'm making money playing in video game tournaments, but how do I monetize my fan base or my community? But also, my product was helping me win tournaments. And you see it today. I mean, everyone has a large gaming mouse pad. The mouse pad I created was actually a printer pad. So basically, I took a printer pad from CompUSA back in like 1999. And I'm like, this thing would be a really good mouse pad. And then I started branding it and selling it across the globe. But that's like the authenticity that people are like, okay, this guy's playing the games and he's winning, but I've created a brand where they want to buy my product because I use it when I play and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to like come out with a bicycle, right?
I actually use what I make.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that the personal brand is probably the most important thing for really dictating the kinds of brands that you will end up working with as a creator. So, however you're perceived in the public sphere is going to dictate whether you work with really out there brands or really straight brands, or really, it's really going to change who you attract to monetize your content.
Yeah. So let's get to that question. Like, what kind of personal brands attract money?
Do you want to go first on that one?
She's throwing it off to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll handball it.
that's a really scary
hard one.
question.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I think if anybody knew the answer to that, it wouldn't be a speculatory thing, right?
Yeah.
But in my experience, I've worked for companies that have, I worked for a company called ScrewAttack a long time ago. They had 2 million YouTube subscribers. They had one of the, they had one of the biggest shows on YouTube. It was called Death Battle. Somebody's probably heard of it in this room. But in my experience, I was a community manager for that brand, ScrewAttack, and Death Battle had cannibalized the entire brand. And so that was a good lesson for me, because ScrewAttack could not sell merchandise. ScrewAttack could not, if we put up, I remember one time we had like an underwear influencer marketing campaign on our videos that were Death Battle, and they weren't driving conversions. Nobody was supporting that side of it. Nobody was clicking links or being like, oh, that's a cool shirt that they're wearing in that video, let's watch it, because the audience had become disengaged with the hosts and personalities. But if you look at a brand like Hang Time, or I love using Ray as an example for a successful streamer. Ray has monetized himself a lot because he is Ray. Ray Narvaez is who he is on the channel. And because he's so likable, because he's good at video games, because he has a goal every stream, because he knows where he wants to take his brand, people resonate with that. And that's why he makes what he does. That's why his audience watches as much as they do. And that's why he gets subs. And that's also why he was able to launch an entire merchandise brand, because people want to support like Ray, because he's a great guy. They know, they trust Ray. They've watched him for years. And that's why I'm of the mind that a great personal brand that is, like I said, open and transparent, that's, to me, what usually makes the most money. Of course, the 1% that have 50,000 people watching every stream, they're going to make money.
Yep.
But statistically, I've been online 8 years. I don't have 60,000 people watching. I have like 200 or 300, right? The chances of you becoming a 60,000 viewer Twitch megastar, I don't mean to be mean, but it's probably not going to happen. You would have to invest indefinite time for what probably will not pan out. But what you can do is you can start building a small audience that knows who you are, that likes watching you for you, and you can start communicating stuff to that audience, that small, intimate audience that will support you directly because they like you. They're not like.
And the stronger that you make your brand in a particular niche, the more that you're going to really attract the brands who are already in that kind of space. I think that it's really important to have that alignment, and the stronger that you build that niche around you is the most valuable thing you can have.
One quick thing, I told you I'd talk a lot, but
yeah, go for it.
We have a person in our community named Allie the Gaming Hag. She's the coolest girl ever, and she has a lot of cozy indie streams, and she also plays Valorant. But because she does like cozy indie games, and she kind of markets like, I like having coffee on a Sunday while I stream like mental health days. She had like she's small, like 10 to 30 people watching, but she had a coffee brand reach out to her because they caught her, and that was her being authentic. And as a result, a brand that likes what she was doing, was supporting her. So even at 10, 30 viewers, you may not think that's a lot, but that is proportionally on Twitch, that is a very large audience, considering. So, but you just reminded me of that. So
I also don't think that brands are really letting up as such. I always imagined the brands would kind of get a little bit more flexible and easy with, their creators and how they behave. but it doesn't seem to have let up much. They still want to know, how political is a streamer. They want to know, whether they're swearing a lot or not so much. They want to know what kind of content and really who that streamer is before they actually engage them. So I guess I just wanted to let you guys know that that is still of real importance to the brands that we're working with. Yep.
So we'll get to Cassie. What are your top 3 tips for using social media to get the word out and self-promote?
I think it's really important to, one, we've talked a lot about personal branding, right? I think it's important for you to be authentic with who you are. I think it's important that you choose 2 to 3 platforms that you can actually control. And, we say this over and over again, there needs to be that consistency. Marketing is a lot about repetition, right? And repetition with your community about when you're going to be online, who you are as a person, so they can actually resonate with you is really important, right? But it's important that you yourself are able to stick to that schedule, right? There's no point in developing this huge marketing strategy across, multiple platforms if you can't even, consistently stream, on particular days, right? People resonate with that consistency, and it builds that trust between you and your audience. And it's important that you actually stick to a schedule there, right? The other tip I would have is repurposing content is key. Right? One person, typically most of the time you're one person as a small streamer, and you obviously don't have budget to create all these, huge productions and whatnot, right? So what you want to do is, stream, cut that into, at least, 6 or 7 different pieces of content across, whatever your chosen platforms are, and consistently do that over and over in time. Obviously, there are things like, hashtags to use on different platforms, etc. But those are the really things that, we use and a lot of our content creators use as well.
So the next question is obviously Shaun has a really interesting career and journey and so forth. And, tell us how you monetize your brand and content, through your career.
Yeah, I'll kind of cut to the chase here. So who here, if you don't mind, don't be ashamed. You don't have to raise your hand if you don't want to. But who here streams like right now? Go and raise your hands. It's all cool. Who streams right now? Cool. Who of you guys is streaming right now and has about 5 viewers watching? Okay, cool. That's awesome. 10 viewers? 10, awesome. 25 viewers. Sometimes, okay, yeah. Cool. 50. I'll just see when it runs out. 50, 100.
Nice.
50? Okay.
50.
That's good.
I'm going to pick on you, okay? You got about 50 viewers watching. Do you put goals on your stream? Monetary goals.
Monetary?
Yeah.
I have a sub goal, a running sub.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay, so I think that if you have about 5 to 10 people watching, you're ready to monetize. I've had a huge leg up. I'm super privileged. I started at a big brand. When I started streaming on a personal channel, I started from like 15 people, right? I can honestly tell you, I do not know what it is like to start at 0 viewers. So that is, and I can already imagine it's next to impossible. I've been streaming to the same amount of people for like 5 years now, right? So with that, I think at that limit, when you have 5 to 10 people that are watching you consistently, it's time to start putting goals on, and I'm gonna go on a tirade right here. Goals are literally the entire conversation that needs to happen, right? So you have a sub goal up, that's awesome. A lot of big streamers will just put a sub goal up, right? I know Bruce Green, he monetizes, he'll put 13,000 subs up, right? He lives in Los Angeles, he needs it. But he does huge giveaways. That's how Bruce Green monetizes. He says, this many subs, I'll give you this. If we do outrageous, I'll give you a Tesla, right? Ray has a sub goal up, or he has subs up but no goal. And God, I had another one. Like Pay Money Wubby, he's got like a crazy huge goal. It's like 23,000 subs, right? If I was starting fresh, I don't need 23,000 subs kind of money. I'm going to ask you something a little bit personal. You don't have to ask. Is your goal to go full time on Twitch?
Yes, and I'm currently privileged with the
Okay, she says,
Not monetarily, but I have the time.
can you hop on the mic? Is that okay? Can we do that real quick? Okay, just gonna run a little experiment here. Okay, so just consider anything that we say to be like for if you have 5 and up. If you're streaming to 2 or 3 people, you could probably start, but we're gonna try to get to 5 before, and once you get to 5, this is the conversation that kind of needs to happen. Okay, so you're in a spot where you can dedicate yourself, maybe you have a partner, a husband that can work, and you can do this. So, what do you consider, this is what your goal should be if you want to go full-time on Twitch. A lot of people think, I have to get to 10,000 people to to be a successful Twitch streamer. To me, if I wanted to be a creator as a living, I'm going for one thing. If I'm waiting tables at Saltgrass Steakhouse, like I did for 8 years, I'm making $35,000 a year waiting tables, right? That is my goal for going full-time Twitch. It's not 500 viewers. It's not I have to have 1,000 people watching. I'm going for this monetary goal because that's what pays the bills, right? You can share that if you want, but do you know the number in your head of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My monthly goal, so the way that we've worked out bills and stuff is my goal is always to get around $500 a month at least.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
$500 a month, let's assume you're on a 50-50 rev split if you were only monetizing subs. I don't know math, so somebody has to tell me the answer.
I believe, well, that would be, 500 a month would be 1,000 subs, I believe.
Yeah, like 1,000 subs.
So-
That's a lot of subs,
Yeah.
but let's say one thing we did with Hang Time is, and Game Attack, is we inadvertently found a way to communicate to our audience, hey, this is how much money we need to exist, to pay ourselves, to do these bigger streams, to have health insurance. We developed a system where we can just tell our audience straight up, give us money. And I know I have some of my audience watching right now. We got you. I'm just kidding. But it is, so what we do on our channel is we have these things called hearts. Hearts cost about $12 a piece, and it's like a token, like a video game coin, right? And every time somebody donates or gifts a sub or tips, it kills a heart, and we try to kill like 100 hearts a day. If you do the math, we need like about $1,000 a day to operate. So you have, 500. We have anywhere from unpayable to making payroll. That's our goal, right? So to monetize, it really is as simple as telling your audience, this is what I need. I hope you like me. And I know it's not like the best answer, but it really is a business based on hope. What you can do to monetize is you can give your audience back as much as possible. Are you using alert sounds for whenever people tip you?
Yeah.
Like fun, like quirky stuff?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have anything on your channel culture that that's like an inside joke with you and your audience?
If anybody knows Bob and Doug McKenzie, Strange Brew, those guys, they're goofy Canadian brother couple people know.
Mm-hmm.
The game that I main is a very Canadian game, so that's kind of our thing is we just crack those jokes and quote those.
Gotcha. Do you use that in your alert sounds at all?
Yeah.
So you're already crushing it. Like you are ahead of a huge swath. You're using channel culture to incentivize your audience to pay you and using that channel culture as a reward, right? A lot of us, you get a tip, it's like, oh, thank you. Some people do alert noises. Hang Time, we monetize for time. We say, hey, if we kill 25 hearts, we will take the stream an extra 30 minutes. We've been doing this for like 4 years now. Any stream that Hang Time does could be a marathon. If, let's say the audience pops off, we have a couple of $100 tips, somebody comes in with 100 sub bomb, a crazy internet ISP owner that watches us up in Indiana decides to throw down $4,000. Bam, we're going till it's like a 14-hour marathon, like automatically, right? So that's our thing. We monetize for time, and we also monetize for goals. Have you ever set any unlockable thing for your audience if they support you so much?
I have. it didn't exactly pan out.
That's fine, that's fine.
But yeah.
But yeah, so just like Bruce Green, you know, let's say you want to hit that $500 a month that you want, you could say, hey, what was it, 1,000 subs?
Oh, yeah, for the math brains, I figured it out eventually. It's actually 200 subs.
200 subs, okay. Okay. So you could easily, I mean, that is why we're talking about authenticity and cultivating the right kind of audience, because you want the kind of audience that knows what you stand for, that knows that you want to hit $500 a month, and you don't have to say $500 a month, just like we don't say, we need $1,000 today, and we need it consistently, or, oh, we're out of here, because we can't exist, and I'm going back to Sawgrass. But you want to cultivate the right kind of audience. What was your name? I'm sorry, and what's your channel?
I'm Thomasina, or Tom. You can call me Tom.
Okay, and what's your Twitch channel?
Well, that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to create a channel and a community that you can easily say, I need 200 subs by the end of this month, and you can give them a thank you. You can just say thanks. Hey, we hit the goal. That's awesome. I'm a huge believer in hanging your sign. I've said this before in kind of other smaller talks, but you never go into an ice cream shop that doesn't have like pictures of ice cream on it, right? Because you want to tell people what they're going to get whenever they buy from you, right? So I always think it's a great idea. Thanks is a great baseline. Noises are a fun baseline. We've even used music we hated as notification noises, right? I hate Guns N' Roses cover of Knocking on Heaven's Door, right? So $20 that song plays. I hate it. I really do hate it. I don't $20 hate it. But that is like one of many ways you can use your channel culture to monetize. Let the audience torture you. They know what's happening. They're not stupid. They're paying you, but also they're messing around with you, right? So I would say you're already doing spectacular. You know what's going on. Just in your example, I think it'd be really cool if like you want to hit $500 a month, put 200 subs up there. When you hit 200, take it to 250. But there's so many tools. The sub count is one thing. You can use health bars for bits and tips. We like to use a modified version of the Stream Boss, which is tips, bits, and subs. Because if somebody's going to spend $100 on subs, we have like a 70-30 split. So it's like if somebody spends $100 on us, I would rather them do that through direct donations, right? So we kind of amalgamate it all into this one thing. But put your goals out there. Tell them what they're going to get whenever they support you, and cultivate the audience that you can say, hey, I need this. Could you help me? I'm going to give you as much as myself as I'm comfortable with, and bigger streams, equipment. I need a better PC. I could use it to do a mini marathon for you guys, so on and so forth. Thank you so much.
I need to pay the water bill.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much.
I've seen that on a few streams as well, and I think that works.
Yeah. I mean, we've just recently bought a studio, so it's like, hey, this new studio is because you guys support us, right? So it really is about transparency. And I got to be honest, I'm 33 years old. I want to stream to 25 to 40-year-olds who get me, who get my sense of humor, my references, who agree with my views on human rights and things like that. And that will be reflected in how they support you, you know.
And so that's like your brand, and and kind of to continue on about branding and so forth. I'd like to share some of kind of my story, just coming up in the scene and building my own brand. So my career started off. I was a kid from the Midwest. I was there when the internet first came out, and I was like just fascinated that you could play against the best players in the world from home. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And so for me, it was better than beating my neighbors, my best friends in high school, whatever. It's like I can play against guys from New York, Germany, from Texas or wherever from my home. So I started playing in tournaments at the age of like 15 to 18 years old. And when I was 18, actually, I got lucky enough that a friend from Omaha, Nebraska, a guy I used to travel and bring my computer like in my car to play with my buddy Eric Pike. His nickname was Batch. And I would spar with him and play with him. But you have these sponsors like you have here. You have, you have Intel here, and you have the ESLs and so forth. But what I didn't know I was really that good. So like my friend told me how good I was, and he's like, hey, you should go to this tournament in Texas. They're giving away $25,000 for playing a video game. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And at the age of 18, I saved up $500. I also was a waiter, and saved up $500, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to this tournament. Went to the tournament, gave it my best down there, and I ended up winning $4,550 in one weekend playing a video game. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is crazy. And I knew that people were like, traveling the world playing video games and representing like peripheral companies and so forth. So then about 2 weeks later, I got invited by a company called Razer. It was the old Razer, the one that went bankrupt. But I ended up, they invited me to go to Sweden to represent USA. And so I was like, yes, sure, I'll go. And so I went there and I played against the top 12 guys in the world, and I won the tournament. I won 18 games straight, losing 0. And being business-minded, trying to monetize my capital, I went up to the sponsors like, hey, you should sponsor me. And they were like, well, why would we sponsor you? And I told them, well, I'm the best in the world. and so that was literally my punchline, right?
I tell sponsors that all the time, but they don't believe me, and I'm not.
So then they had a tournament coming up in about 2 or 3 months, and I was like, wouldn't it be great if I was wearing your shirt on stage when, I wasn't really, I was very confident in my skills to at least be on the podium, if not win it. That's how, I was very confident in my ability. So obviously I was able to sell it. And I remember I met him, the manager, the GM there, Robert Krakoff, and we met in Chicago when we were flying back from Sweden, and we're in the baggage claim area, wherever, in the customs area, and he goes, Fatal1ty, yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna sponsor you. And it was super cool. I was like so excited. I mean, because it instantly was like, I got a full year salary, if not more, and all my travel was paid for the rest of the year. I got traveled to Korea, Germany, went to Australia in 2001. I got to travel the world a lot to play a game called Quake 3 Arena. And so I made like $110,000 that year playing video games, and I was like, holy crap, this is the craziest thing ever. And so then I started trying to figure out how I could monetize it past just being wearing a shirt or having my picture on the back of a mouse box. How can I monetize it more? So I started working for a .com. I posted blogs about my experience traveling the world and competing. They paid me, some money on the side, some good money, another $30,000, whatever it was. And I was like, man, this is like, I'm making money from all these different angles. And then the reason why I brought up the Razer bankruptcy is because Razer went bankrupt for some reason. And that kind of inspired me. It's like, well, the .com bust happened. Everything was kind of happening around the 2001 era when all that stuff was going on. So I was like, why don't I just create my own brand? So I created the Fatal1ty brand, and I started making mouse pads. And so I would make these mouse pads, and I would call up the manufacturer in Utah, and I was like, hey, can you make me like a bunch of these mouse pads? It's a longer story. I did all these interviews, and I told everyone to go to CompUSA to buy these mouse pads. And so everyone was buying these mouse pads. So I call up the manufacturer. I literally on the phone. I'm like, hey, how's your sales been for your printer pad? And he says on the phone to me, he's like, we've literally tripled our sales in the last 2 or 3 years. And then I said, you're welcome. He was confused, and I explained to him why he was selling more mouse pads than ever before. And then he was like, you're the reason. Like, I didn't know why we were selling more, but you're the, so I was like, I'll do a deal with you. Just give me the wholesale price for these. I'd like to make these mouse pads exactly how you already have them, and I want to put my Fatal1ty logo on it. And I want to sell that to gamers around the world. So I created a website, created a PayPal page, and basically started doing sales out of the garage in my basement of my parents' house when I was like 21. Yeah. And I was making like $5 or $10 grand a month selling mouse pads. And so it's like, it's not always about having subs and bits and so forth. There's other ways to monetize your community without doing it directly through what they give you. Twitch only gives you so much. You have to also think of the other vertical that you can also be working on to create your own personal brand. Mine was, I want to be the best gamer in the world. I want to help people be a better gamer. And I want them to play to their full potential. So I make products based on that.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like how I got into creating my own personal brand and then able to monetize it in different ways. And obviously that led to doing licensing deals. So it's kind of like, you know, talk about that top 1%, like, yeah, I was happy making $5 or $10 grand a month, but I was like, oh, can I make more? You know, it's like, how can I keep evolving this? And so companies started, you know, reaching out to me, but also I was very active. I was like, I would go to the store and I would see all these products on the shelf. And, you know, for perfect example would be like a motherboard. So back in the day when you build a computer, you like, okay, I want that motherboard because it's a gaming motherboard. Well, back when I was doing it, that did not exist. You cannot, it said NZX25932B. When I was like, what does that even mean? So I was like, why can't I create a brand that represents gaming? So I started reaching out to motherboard manufacturers and creating Fatal1ty gaming motherboards for the last, you know, 15, 17 years. But that was kind of my ambition to license my brand to companies. Creative Labs, Sound Blaster I used to work with. We made headphones, motherboards, sound cards, mice, keyboards, everything. And it was always about helping the gamer play to their fullest potential. And that was kind of my authenticity to my story.
It's like a testament of very early leverage, like certainly like trailblazing and understanding like the power that you had in that position, right? Like I said with like Allie, the gaming hag, like it's just, for her, she was able to leverage like, hey, I love coffee. My community likes coffee, you know? Even on a small scale, you can do it. I hope I can do it to that scale someday. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But even like when I was building our studio out, I know I needed like a bench PC setup. So I started reaching out to PC sponsors. I was like, hey, you know, I was using the fact that I needed the space to leverage a sponsorship deal. And we had like NZXT sponsor our computers and stuff, and even like a monetary sponsorship for a couple of months. But it is kind of understanding your value and where it is in your brand, in your channel culture. You know, if you love collecting, I don't know, this might be higher brow, but like if you're a toy collector and you have them in your background, like start reaching out to, I was reaching out to indie devs on the floor, because like I know that in my space, about 200 to 300 people, I don't think I'm gonna get a deal like necessarily with Madden or Call of Duty, but I know that I could bring value to indie devs or like kind of mid-tier devs that really want to show off their product to 200 or 300 people, and I'm gonna be a lot cheaper than Nick Merckx is because I'm not Nick Merckx, right? So that's, leverage is super important.
And it's
like,
really crazy, like you talked about, I mean, it's kind of like knocking on doors and kind of seeing where that rabbit hole will go to. And you know, the game called Unreal Tournament was a big game that I was a champion at, and I remember the sound in the game was bad. Like they changed the file, okay, whatever the deal was. So I called up Cliff Blinsky from Epic, and I go, Cliff, there's something wrong with the sound in your game, and he says, oh, you need to call Creative Labs Sound Blaster. So I called the tech officer or engineer at Creative Labs and told him about the sound issue. And then a year later, that's when they reached out to me. They wanted to sponsor me just because I knew sound. Like I understood it, I could talk about it, I could tell you why sound is so important in video games. And so they offered me a crazy deal. They offered me like 200 grand to do
What?
They offered me, it was like 2004, 2005.
Some BS. I'm gonna call everybody. I'm gonna call Call of Duty and be like, your grenade sounds suck.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna get paid $200.
You're gonna make someone else.
God almighty.
So
I'm gonna throw up. I'm
yeah.
gonna go.
So you'll throw up even more after this. So after thinking about it for a while, I actually turned it down.
Oh, I'm gonna kill you, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But the only reason why is because I was very ambitious about my brand and what I was building, and I thought I was on the cusp of something amazing, and I was, because a month later they came back and said, okay, we'll do your deal. And so then instantly I had Fatal1ty headphones. We sold over 2 million headsets across the world. I mean, you go to Russia, China, Germany, Latvia, South America, wherever you went, you would find my products on the shelf. And it was just amazing because like saying no that one deal,
Yep.
I mean, that was a 2-year deal. It's amazing to get a 2-year deal and make some quick money and so forth. But if you really have a vision for like long-term, like longevity and so forth, and that's what I was hunting down, and that's what I wanted. You know, that was my goal. I stuck to my guns. I thought I was going to regret it, but you know, luckily 30 days later they called me back and says, okay, we'll do your deal.
Yep.
So, Jax, let's get to your story. What led you to founding GGWP Academy?
I founded GGWP Academy back in 2018, and I did it because my son, at the age of 9, turned pro, playing Pokemon, VGC, and he was signed to a top-tier esports team to represent from Australia to come to the US and start competing at a world level. And so I spent 3 years jumping on international flights with a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, and making content as well, because part of his esports contract was to make the content that went along with it. And so throughout that journey, I started using my background in marketing, communications, various other leadership sort of roles, to help him understand what it meant to have a personal brand, how to conduct himself in public, how to make sure that he was safe, you know, while doing it at that age as well. But I started to realize that I was teaching him things that most content creators in their 20s and 30s weren't utilizing as well. So they weren't, you know, building a strong brand around themselves. They weren't streaming, you know, on the regular. They were, you know, all of these really simple sort of beginner marketing type things that, you know, I could notice across the ecosystem that weren't really being used. And people started reaching out to me and saying, you know, how did you, you know, do this with your son at the age of 9? How did he earn 15K in his first year of streaming? How did he get on national TV and, you know, all of these things? And from there, I basically wrote out about 20 training modules, things on personal branding, how to build and grow your audience, how to engage with brands, how to network, how to do all of the things that you need on the business side to become a professional content creator. And when I'd written about 20 modules of training, I was accepted to the Lead Sports Accelerator in Berlin. I left Australia, I went to Berlin for 4 months.
Cool.
And that's where we got our first investors as our, you know, tech startup began, basically. I came back to Australia and I met up with my co-founders, Cassie and John, who unfortunately can't be here with us at the moment. But from there, we've just been building. We've now filmed over 90 training modules on these sorts of topics for you in-app. So things that will teach you, all of these things are in our app at the moment. And we're now just getting to the point where we're able to match a creator with a brand deal. So regardless of what size you're at, you know, you come to the platform and you can, you know, browse the gigs and see what there is to apply for. And it's been a really cool road, you know, to get from solo founder, mum of 9-year-old, entering the gaming space with a gamer husband, and coming to this point now where we've got a global audience. You know, we've worked with 50 of the top global brands, from Logitech to Indomie noodles to Casio watches, and, you know, really cool stuff in between. Yeah, it's been a journey.
Nice.
Yep.
So to get to, we'll have one last question, then we'll get to your questions. So finally, 10 years from now, what do you think the future of content creation will look like, and how will creators make their money? Who wants to take it first? Shaun's a big talker. He says he's in Tony Robbins.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't think anybody really does. I think, I mean, a platform like TikTok can disrupt the entire ecosystem. Twitch could be gone in a day. YouTube could, I don't know. Like, I have no idea. I mean, if you would have asked me 10 years ago what the ecosystem would have looked like, it sure as hell wouldn't have been
This.
Yeah. So I think as a content creator whose livelihood it depends on literally the support of the audience. That's a really scary question. I don't even like to think about, to be honest. That's just the scariest thing
Anybody
ever.
else want to jump in for it?
I mean, for me, it's like I'm just always fascinated about the technology and how things advance. You know, the thing is, we're live streaming right now in a stagnant place. We're live streaming from our bedrooms, from our front living rooms, from our basements, wherever. And sometimes, you know, I do some live streaming with my girlfriend. Like we'll go around and TikTok videos, you know, and we get like 500 viewers watching us live stream Las Vegas, and it's like this is crazy. And so it's like always kind of cool to see how people are always evolving and changing. But I think that's what is really interesting. I'm always like, you know, like when people talk about the metaverse and all this stuff, like I'm always like, okay, like how can I be at the cutting edge of this? And how can I be a pioneer in this? And so what I say, like if I was gonna tell you how to be good at video games or esports, I was like, well, be a part of the alpha or the beta of the game, play from day one and never stop. Because you'll be the one that's creating all the new stuff that comes out. You'll be the first one to know before everyone else. Is if you're there, being there at the front lines, you'll always be the first one to know and know how to use it and how to use it to your best ability. So for me, it's like, I'm really fascinated about the live streaming technology that will come out, like, you know, with, you know, different things we can wear to go live or things that, you know, make it easier to live stream. Because right now it's like, it's very like, I hold my camera, I go on and I'm live, and like, or.
But
you know.
even with that, like that road trip stream I was talking about, that was done on a phone.
Yeah.
You know, we had somebody in studio that was monitoring the phone stream, but like, we streamed a road trip with a Galaxy S20. Like, 21 days, 7,500 miles, Dallas to LA to Chicago to New York.
The trick that you did was, I mean, yes, he was live streaming from his phone and so forth, but he had a production studio at home that had a live stream up. So they would pull his live stream feed
From the phone, yeah.
from the phone, but the stream would never go down.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, what I have is like, if I lose signal, my stream goes down,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, you know, that's the next level.
But
like,
just a testament, that's what I'm saying, like in 10 years, if right now you can stream any of Vegas with that phone, or we can do a road trip with a phone, I don't know, in 10 years that's gonna be wild. It's gonna be super crazy.
I'm always interested in that, and I'm always interested in being the beginning of something and being like, you know, an early adopter of new tech or new ideas or new way of thinking, and I think that will lead you on to a great path. But hope you guys enjoyed this panel. Would any of you like to ask some questions before we end the show? We have about 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Hi there.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. So I'm a small-time indie dev. I've won a couple of competitions, GMTK, and like 3 game jams. But I've been on the front page of Twitch because of these things. And, you know, I stream a small piece compared to what you guys do. And I just have this, like, I have this situation where my content has been on the front page at Twitch on other people's streams, and I'm wondering how to capitalize off of that properly. Right? Because, like, it's totally improper to go onto somebody else's stream and be like, follow me. So what do you guys recommend?
I'm very excited to answer this one. I love front page questions. I hope Twitch isn't watching, because I got some bad news for you. The front page of Twitch, it doesn't mean anything.
Great.
I've streamed to 11,000 people on the front page of Twitch. I've streamed to 15,000 people on the front page of YouTube Gaming when it was brand new. And it is almost impossible to get people to click you on that rotator. And it has nothing to do with you, man. Like, don't feel, you know, I've been live. I remember when like Spyro Remastered came out, right? We had like front page, they gave us a slot. It was awesome. 5,000 people watching. I am telling them directly, come to the channel page, come to the channel page, say anything in the chat, all those people in the rotator. And some of them may have just opened up Twitch and forgot about it, right? And it's still counting as your views. But the only real thing you can do, in my opinion, is ask them to come to the page.
Yeah.
Like, what I always tell people, especially from raids as well, anytime you have a big influx of people that don't know your channel, tell them, click the channel page, I will gift you a sub. Or that's what I try to do. I try to hook them in as hard as possible, because that, I mean, you would think it was bench pressing 900 pounds getting them to click that front page. And I see that a lot, especially on like the Twitch Reddit, people asking for advice, like front page and it didn't mean anything. It will skew your viewership, kind of funny. It is good to get the exposure and the recognition, but the Twitch ecosystem and how people watch on Twitch, people are going to Twitch to watch specific people.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
It increases the amount of people through the top of the funnel to your channel, but I don't know that it increases the amount of people that are going to stick and really, I mean, you're definitely going to get that little bit of exposure, but it's still going to be about highlighting, what your content is and getting that right person to want to be there as well.
Yeah.
It's not going to increase the amount of people who want to look at that type of content, though.
And you're getting spotlight because you're making an indie game, correct? They're kind of giving you a spotlight. Yeah, I've been on the front page of Twitch with my friend next to me in a full terrible Knuckles outfit, and I'm dressed up as Sonic, and I got a whole cutout and a morph suit that's like this, full of face paint. We are running in place. And we have that on the front page because it's such a ridiculous visual. People, I gotta click that, right? No, they don't. It's just the hard part about the Twitch front page. Should you turn it down? Hell no. You take the front page whenever you can get it. But that conversion, all I can think to do is ask them to come to your channel page. Try to tell them something you can give them, like a gifted sub or something like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. How you doing?
So we have our podcast when we also do a live stream. We have followers who are very supportive. And I think that we're at the point where we should start monetizing. And I hear you guys saying that, yes, go ahead and do that. How?
Well, okay, so you guys are streaming, you don't have goals up or anything. When we say monetizing, I just mean like you're presenting to your audience that you would like to now make money. So you've got a supportive audience, they're just straight up gifting subs and tipping you just because you're awesome, right? I'll just tell you what I would do. I would say I would give it a week, I would come up with a strategy or however long you want. Talk about how you want to monetize. Do you want to fill up a bar? Do you want to kill a stream boss? Do you want to have a donation goal or a tip goal? Do you want to put a sub goal? Kind of talk. I guess you guys are kind of streaming as a team, kind of. Group of girls. Okay, awesome. But the first thing I would do is I would hit your audience over the head with it, to where it's nothing but good news, right? Because I would offer something in return. It's a group of girls, just like low-hanging fruit, you could do a marathon if you hit your monetary goal. And just set it at, sky's the limit. Set it at what you think you deserve to be paid. Whenever we're looking at like what we want to make, it's like, what do we need to have, like what do I need to make my mortgage? What does Grayson need to hopefully start saving for a house and have his dream of being a homeowner, right? Same for PETA, right? Set your goal at what you think your audience would support you with and what you think you deserve for the work you're putting in, and just keep cultivating. But I'll just lay out the content plan. This is the funnest part. This is the best part of the job. Okay, decide how you want to do it, whether it's a goal or sub goals or a bar, some kind of graphic. Okay, decide what it is, come up with a plan to announce it, and then put like announcement coming next week in your stream, and then come up with the plan for how you're going to display it, and then come up with something fun to do when you hit your goal, to where your audience knows what they're getting. Because instead of being like, hey, we hit our goal of $1,000, period, you can say, we hit our goal of $1,000, and now we're going to beat our audience to death with the most kick-ass content ever because y'all unlocked it. It validates us, right? I cannot tell you the dopamine crashes I get from having a successful day. You have validated me by telling
You're still on it.
Yeah, every day. You validated me by paying us, and as a group, that is an awesome leg up because your audience knows that they're supporting more than just one person. You validated me, and now I get to give you something back, and you're going to enjoy that as and now you get more stuff from us. I mean, and tell your audience, hey, the more money we make, the more we can not worry about other shit, the more time we can invest in this production.
People always want to know what's next and what they're gonna get for it. You know, it's like even when I live stream sometimes on TikTok, I'm like, we're gonna see the Bellagio waterfall. You gotta wait 10 minutes. You know, and it's like for now I'll show you this and this, but in 10 minutes you're gonna get your reward for waiting. And so I think that's kind of like similar to what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So have some kind of event that it all leads to, or if you guys need new equipment, just say if you have sound that you don't like or you want new cameras, just say use that transparency. That's the most beautiful thing about a smaller audience, and an audience that cares about you, is just tell them.
Can I also ask just quickly, so tell me briefly what kind of content it is you're producing and what kinds of brands you've already kind of thought about would fit or have a good alignment with the kind of content that you're producing?
I was actually going to kind of jump off of what you just said and ask about how to reach out to sponsors, but we have a cosplay podcast. We talk about everything geek related, mostly cosplay related, but it includes video games and anime and comic books and basically anything you can dress up as, we're going to do it. And then we also have a streaming of our D&D group where we dress up as the characters. We have a really great DM and stream that whole thing on Skull for Initiative.
Yep.
So we have Cutting Edge Cosplays, our podcast, and we team up with Skull for Initiative for our D&D live stream. So as for brands that would work really well, it would be foam brands, paint brands, adhesives,
Yep.
any comic book, video game, kind of anything. We're pretty open and we have a broad range of skills. And talents,
Absolutely.
so.
I mean, I'll tell you, it's hard because if I reach out to Activision, I'm not really getting responses, right?
Right.
But if you're doing a D&D show, go to these DICE people right here at PAX.
Yeah.
Try to get a physical contact. I have pinned on my Twitter a demo video of our hangar. This I guess is kind of embarrassing, but I just went up to indie devs that had one publisher of indie games, but they had multiple games under their thing. I just went up to them and said, "Hey, do you have a PR contact?" "Oh, hi, Elena. How are you doing? Look at this."
Yeah.
And I said, "I want to use this to make content for you guys. What do you think? Can I just get an email address?" If you get an email address, that's awesome. But I cannot offer advice on how to work with paint companies and stuff. But I would find you just got to look on the site and you got to be really diligent and hit them up a lot. Also reach out to other cosplayers as well. You know, that's an awesome community.
If you jump into our Discord, we also do channel reviews and stuff like that and help people with their media kits and outreach and all of the really logistical, one-to-one stuff as well. So if you jump into our Discord, we're happy to help in further than this. I know we've only got 1 minute left, so I just wanted to offer, that bit of extra help as well.
Because that's the kind of situation, and that's the reason why you guys exist, is to help with problems like that. I have a problem with that. That's why I
And
wanted
that's
to
why
talk
we
to you.
built the marketplace, so that brands can literally search for exactly the kind of content creator that they want to work with, find that content creator, book them, negotiate, the price or hire their templated deals and just hire them and work with them from the platform.
But
So-
on the flip side, you can showcase yourself
Correct.
as the best content creator that you can possibly be, right? So Shaun
It's
was
like a
just
link
talking-
tree for gamers.
Yeah.
This is my media kit, my profile.
Yeah, Shaun was just talking about his demo video of his hangar. We have a similar pitch video of you guys showcasing your content and what you could do for a brand. It's all about, I think, the hustle from you guys as a content creator, because you're hustling to start basically your own business, right? So that hustle mentality to go to the DICE company go on the floor and start talking to brands, right? But have something to show them. Have some stats, have some, a video that you've previously done that's done really well. Have something to show them so that they're really enticed by what you're doing. And that's the whole point of, you can see up there the profiles that we've built out for you guys. You can sign up, create your own pitch video, and that becomes your media kit that you essentially just serve to a brand whenever you want to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Not to shamelessly plug us.
Thank you very much. All right, so we got one more question. You got 30 seconds. We got 30 seconds of answers.
So not really a question, but more of just kind of words of encouragement for everybody from the perspective of somebody who has sponsored people,
Yeah, please.
don't ever be afraid to just send an email to somebody asking, if they'd be interested in sponsoring your brand. Because the worst thing they say is, no, come back when you have more subscribers, or just no.
Yep.
I mean, I had no subscribers, and I talked to NZXT for a charity once, and they sent me like 50 cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that becomes your goal for your subscribers, right? Or your community, right? And that's something you want to tell them. I really want this sponsorship, get on board. I'd love for you guys to have that interaction with myself, right?
And I'm sure you're not going to get your feelings
It's like
hurt if
selling
shirt.
yourself, like really just
Yep.
making sure that they know, like, hey, I'm out here. This is what I want to do, and as long as you have charisma, like they probably will consider you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And get out there throughout PAX and go get the business cards, speak to people, make
Yeah.
those connections, and make them work.
I got some myself. I just like
Same.
just go scoop them.
Well, thank you very much for everyone. I hope you all enjoyed this panel, and we look forward to seeing you in the future at PAX. Thank you.
guys.
Thanks, guys.